Hey, hey, everybody. It is Chris here. And exciting news. We are getting close to finishing the backlog of months that we hadn't done for the perpetual calendar. So just let me share this into my group, and then we are ready to go. Just one second here. They don't make it super easy, so here we go. Okay. All sorts of clicks. Okay. Now I can move that out of my way so I can actually see. Okay, so I think it was like 2.5 weeks ago we started, and I said, "Who wants to create the perpetual calendar?" Because I love the perpetual calendar. I might have to put my sweater on again. It's like freezing cold. It's like that weird spring weather where it's nice outside, but kind of chilly. So I've turned up the heat and I keep putting on my sweater and taking it off. But anyway, you guys don't need to know that part. Okay, so a few weeks ago we made the March perpetual calendar and everybody liked it so much. And they asked if I had done, let's just switch this so I can actually see you. Yeah, okay, I think I decided I'm just going to put it on. They asked if I'd done January and February, and I hadn't taught them live. So I decided we would go backwards and fill in the January and February. So here's the February one we made, and it was lots of fun. So we used distress inks and some stickles and the pearls, and we embossed. And in the March one, we did some ink mixing and textured paste and coloring. Okay, so then now we're at January, and then we're filled in. So here is what the January months of the year look like. So Close to My Heart's going to do these all year long. So January was the first one. So I also need my glasses. My goodness. So we did. I'm going to use the January one today, and I have a plan kind of in my head. And I did use the February one for the February one, and I used the March one for the March one. So this is what the perpetual calendar looks like. If you haven't seen it, they're blanks, and it's got a wood base. And so the thought is that it stays the same every year, right? You just flip through it. You can put like your birthdays and all the things that don't change throughout the year. Okay, so that's what I think. That's the little preamble for whoever had not seen the perpetual calendar. Okay, so because we used Distress Oxide inks last time, that was actually part of my original plan, and then I thought, no, we're not going to do that. We'll do something different because I did that last time. So, like I said, I think this will work. We're going to see. Okay, so what I'm going to do is the first thing I'm going to do is I want to tape off a section of my perpetual calendar. We're going to actually build right on this one this time. Okay, so I need 1 inch, 2 inches, 3 3/4, I think. I want enough room that I can stamp my January underneath. So let me just see. So I'm just going to take some, oop, and I moved it. I'm just going to stick this down so I don't got everything stuck to me today. Just for a second, I'm going to stick this down so it stops moving on me. Okay, there we go. So now I'm going to add some washi tape because we're going to do some ink blending. And I just want a straight line across the bottom. Because we're going to ink blend with just our regular inks. And I'm going to show you why. So I thought, okay, you know what? Now that it's got all rolled up, it's kind of not very straight anymore. I was trying to use the piece I used from before, but we're just going to get a new piece. That works too, because I want the straight line. I'm just going to remind you that you can ink blend with our regular inks. We're just going to use one color. So I'm going to create a scene up here with like the snowman and something else in a second. Okay, I'm just gonna, you don't need to see me this big anymore. Okay, there we go. So I have an ink blending tool and I have our glacier ink, and you can get lots more of the sponges. So I just have extra blank sponges that I use, and I'm going to keep talking while I'm blending ink, but I'm going to pick up ink off the regular glacier ink pad and put it on my background here. So I have some of them for the distress oxides, and then I have extra foam, and I just throw them into a little tiny envelope with their name on them. I know some people put them in like plastic bags, or I've seen people put them in like those coin collecting pouches, etc. But I find that I don't want it in the plastic with the ink on it so that it ends up getting all over everything. So I find the little coin bags or envelopes. So this is just an example. It's just a little paper envelope, and I just write the name on it, and it doesn't take up much room, and it keeps them nice and organized. Then when I go to do another project, I know if I have one, for example, that's glacier already, then I can just grab that pocket and bring it over here to work versus having to grab a new clean sponge. Okay, so my thought process kind of is I wanted to create like a snowy sky. So if you don't have glacier and you want to use something else, just pick a color that reminds you of the sky. We get lots of snow here, so I know what it looks like when it's snowing. So I'm just keeping adding, and you kind of like, I kind of want it to look wispy, right? Like blowing snow all around. So, oh, I feel much better now that I have my sweatshirt on, or jacket or whatever. Okay. So you can add as much ink as you want, and you can keep building it up. So my idea is we're going to create our snowy background, and then we're going to put a shaker element on the front of this. So I've grabbed, we're going to do a rectangle shaker element, and it should fit perfectly. And we're going to put our snowman, and I think we're going to do a snow woman in our shaker. And it will be smaller than our background. So it's so funny. It's way darker here than it looks on camera. It's probably because of all my lights. But I will lift this up in a second. So like I said, just add as much ink on there as you want. Okay, we're going to do a few more things to this. So I think I might just stop, but I'm just going to show you. So it looks kind of like blowing snow there. Okay, so now, excuse the ratty old bottle that my dog ran around the living room with, but this is just spritz cleaner. Okay, so your regular inks will react with the spritz cleaner, right? Because it's used to clean ink off your sponge, off your stamps. So I've taken it out and I'm just tapping so that I'm getting flecks of the cleaner onto my background. Okay, so I know you probably cannot see, but so what's happening is the ink is disappearing wherever I have dropped that spritz cleaner on there. So it gives it kind of like a distressed look without it being the distress oxide. It's just regular ink. I've done lots of fun backgrounds with this technique. You can do different colors. I wanted this all the same color, but you can still blend and everything with our ink colors too, right? Okay, so we're going to move the glacier aside for now. And now I'm going to grab the White Daisy, and this is the pigment ink. And I've grabbed a few of the snowflakes. So I have these two snowflakes from that same stamp set. Okay, so it's this one and this one, these two small ones. Because I know my space is not very big, I didn't want to add in the larger one. So I'm going to take and this dries really quickly, so it shouldn't react at all. So I'm going to do my big snowflake first, I think. And maybe I should I'll put my Versamat just right underneath here. So I'm just putting my Versamat with the spongy side up to cushion for the stamping. Okay, and then I'm just going to kind of random stamp on my background. And I'm not worried yet about where my shaker is going to be because I want the snowflakes all over the place, not just where my shaker is going to be. And I'm stamping a few off so that they're not all perfect. Okay, now I'm going to add in my smaller one here to fill in some of the spaces until I'm happy. I can even go over my tape because I'll be pulling this up so that I get my clean line. And this is just nice and subtle, and you guys probably are going to have a hard time seeing it, but it's actually super pretty here. So, one up there. And I'm just going to quickly wipe off my stamps, and I'll clean them all up later. But, okay, so I'm going to lift this up again. Okay, so this is where we're at. Okay, so here is our next step. So I've grabbed the shaker elements, right? So I have here the shaker window foam and acetate, the rectangular ones. And so you can cut the frame with the thin cut. So we're going to use this, which is the medium one. Okay, so I've just cut my border with the thin cut. So this is going to be our shaker outline here. Okay, so now you can kind of see how it's coming together. So I want to create my scene in here. So I'm just going to mark with a pencil where my shaker is going to go. Okay. So I'm just going to center it, and I'm just marking on the inside what's going to be inside my shaker. Okay. And okay, so then this is the next thing I did. I grabbed the liquid pearls in white, and I'm just going to add dots to make it look more like it's snowing also. Okay, and I'm going to tell you, I have a swap out because obviously if I want to make a shaker here and fill it, if I put pearls down, they're not going to dry. Okay, so this will be my second one. So I'm just touching down the pearls so that it looks like it's snowing in my background. And I know I want to put stuff, I'm going to put like the snowman, 2 snowmen. I think a snowman and a snow woman was. So then I'm just going to leave that to dry. Okay. And then I've also grabbed the stickles just in the diamond, and I'm going to make a little pile of glistening snow on the bottom where I know the shaker's going to go. So I'm just, because snowbanks are not straight, and I've got a dot there, but I'll just go over top of it. Okay. So now I have some snow to build my scene on top of. Okay, so now I have to do my swap out because I'm going to hold it up so you guys can see. But it's super pretty. And I'm going to take some photographs so you can see like along the way. So this one is wet. We're going to move it out of my way. Because you know what? I almost just dumped it right over. And yeah. Okay, so this is what it looks like when it's dry. I just did it a little while ago, but I knew that I wanted it dry so that I could build my shaker on top. And the only other thing I've done is I've stamped my January there because I needed to know how much room. So I did this 3 3/4 down from the top so that I had enough room for the January there and enough room for my shaker element to go right here. Okay, so that's kind of the thought process of what we're doing. Okay, so out of that package, I have a clear acetate and I have the shaker pieces. And so we're going to build our scene now. So in my head, so there's the snowman, right? So we're going to have one snowman, and I'm going to color him and stuff with you. I needed to make sure that he was going to fit inside the shaker. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. And then we're going to make a second snowman, okay? but we're going to put a hat over top of that hat and make it into like a little girl snowman. So that's what I'm thinking is going to happen here. Okay, so we're just going to add our shaker elements and then we'll color our snowman, our snow girl, because the snowman is already colored. Okay, so I'm just using my anti-static so that we can build the shaker on there. Okay, so now I'm going to, now that I know where my insides were for adding my stuff, now I'm just going to mark my outsides and erase the inside marks so that I don't get, so I don't have pencil marks inside my shaker. You probably would never notice them, but I think I'll erase them before I put my foam down on here. Okay, so these sheets are kind of funny. It looks just like a whole pile of squares, but so because I've used the outside frame already on a huge shaker card, and now we're going to use this medium-sized frame, I'm just going to break up the attachments in between. So when they punch it into the foam, it sometimes is slightly attached to the frame, the inside pieces. So I'm just making sure everything's detached. So when I lift it up, it comes up smoothly, and I'm leaving behind my square shaker pieces. So voila. Okay. So now I can just place this down where I want my shaker to be. Okay. Just like that. Now I'm going to build my scene inside. Okay, so I think we can move this stuff out of the way. Okay, and then I just cut a pewter frame, but I think it's going to be really cute. And I like that the sky goes all the way around and not just inside the shaker piece. Okay, so I'm just going to now erase my little pencil and make sure everything's dry. That's why I kind of did it before, so that I knew all my parts were dry before I was trying to erase things and add things. Okay, so this is my first little guy, and we're going to color the girl the same. Well, not the same. We're going to make her look like a girl. And then I also did the little bird, and I think we might do that. So I did color her hat before, because you can see I also added stickles and I wanted those to dry. So we're just gonna leave her there, her hat there. Okay. So I was also trying to decide if I would do the baby it's cold out. So before I decided I was gonna put a second snowman in here, my thought was just to have him in here and then say, baby, it's cold outside, just like that. That would also be really cute too, just like that. But we're gonna make a girl snowman. Okay, so for my coloring, on his scarf, I used the vintage blue and the aqua blue. And on his hat, I used the ice gray, and then I did the shading just with the medium. And then her hat is the aqua and pale pink. And their noses are orange blend. So we'll start with her nose. Okay. And we're just going to do the lights. And I just have my little piece of cardboard underneath here because the alcohol markers can sometimes go through. Okay, so we have that. Now we're going to make her scarf pale pink and coral. And I'm going to do stripes, I think. Okay, so pale pink, I'm going to go with a medium. And I'm just going to color every second stripe. Okay, and I'm going to give her just some little cheeks too. Just like that. She'll look much more like a girl when she doesn't have that hat on. Okay, and then I'm going to do the shading just with the ice gray again. And just a little bit. And I'm just going to smooth it out with the blender. So I just have the blender and I'm just going to smooth it out just a little bit. You could also add stickles onto the snowman. Okay, so then I have the coral shades and I'm going with the darkest one. And I'm going to now color her second stripe. So for whoever missed, oh, that's so cute. Okay, so now I'm just going to, I think, fussy cutter, that's all we need to do. So for whoever missed my live first thing this morning, the sheet for the Lucky Me with all the clovers and interactive pocket, I'll show you at the end, should be up and ready to go for tomorrow. I'm just finishing it up. I've got all the photographs edited and everything. So I'm just fussy cutting around and I'm on purpose leaving a little bit of a white line. And then the other live I'm going to do this week, which I think is going to be Thursday, I'm going to recreate a layout from an old workshop file. So, and I'm going to recreate it with new papers to show you the advantages of using a workshop file. Because once you have a workshop file, then you can recreate it. You can scrap lift yourself, right? It's kind of the same thing as what I've been doing with the pull-out pages, right? I'm scrap lifting myself. Let me just see. I just want to make sure her hat, I don't need to trim off anything. No, it fits perfectly over top of the little top hat. So I'm going to recreate, I picked Summer Vibes. So I'm going to recreate one of the layouts from Summer Vibes. And you guys can vote in that live that I did first thing this morning. There's 4 different layouts in the workshop that I created. So it's my Summer Vibes workshop. And I'm going to recreate it with new product. I'm not going to tell you which yet. But you guys can go and vote if you want to have a say in which layout I do later this week. So this is kind of fun. After this January, we're caught up, and we can do April maybe in advance. I haven't even looked at that stamp set yet. So, okay. So should we have them holding hands and the bird there, or should we put the bird down at the bottom, do you think? Okay, she is not going to fit with her hat, so we're going to trim her off a little bit and nobody's going to notice. We're just going to make her shorter, because she's going to be right along the bottom anyway. So let's see if she fits with her hat now. I'm going to put some stickles there. Now she should fit. I didn't think about whether she would fit with her hat on. Okay, I'm going to actually glue them in so that they stop moving. And, okay, so I'm going to put a little bit of tape runner or Tombow adhesive on here so that when I put it down, it sticks right away and doesn't move. And then once the glue is dry, it really won't move. Okay. So he's going to go right here. We'll decide where we're going to put our little bird. Okay. I'm just going to now add a little black pen line across her bottom so you won't even know that I cut her. Okay. There we go. How cute are they? Okay, so now we're just going to add that at the bottom. And I think I'm going to put it over here. I also was thinking too, so if I wasn't going to put two of them in there, I was also thinking of adding the snow day and putting the little bird on top. I thought that would be cute too. So with my second one, maybe I'll do a different scene. So you could stuff this scene with the white beads. You could stuff it with sequins. I'm going to use the confetti flowers just because I thought they would be kind of fun. So the iridescent flowers to just kind of look like snow when it gets shaken up. Okay, so I'm going to just now add my snow in there. And just get my extras in there. Make sure her hat is stuck down. Okay, we need the glue for the putting the frame on there. Okay, and my window, of course, is clear acetate, so I can't actually see it. Oh, here it is on my table. So don't forget, one of the sides of each of the acetate sheets has a film on it. So you need to take that film off so you don't have a cloudy shaker. So now I'm going to take the backing off my foam, and I have one more little snowflake to put in there. So you can see, I don't know if you could see it, but I'm going to try not to dump it too. I just pressed her hat into the edge of the foam because you're not going to see it once the frame is on there, and then she fits too. So I'm just going to lay my acetate down on top of my foam, and now you can see, and with the snow in there, you could never tell that I cut her. So now I have my stitch frame from the thin cut. We're going to add liquid glue to it, liquid glass, and we're going to adhere it down. And I'm going to add a border at the bottom because I've added a border on all the other ones. So each of the stamps has a long border, so you can add it onto the bottom. It's also really a nice size for using on a scrapbook page. So you could do this exact same thing on a scrapbooking page too, right? Okay, so putting my lid on my liquid glass. So important with your liquid glass, make sure you always seal it up, right? Because you don't want it to get clogged. But it is awesome. Liquid glass is my favorite. Okay, we're just going to set a block on here for a few seconds while we do the border at the bottom. So there is this border across the bottom that's just little trees. I haven't actually used it yet, so we're going to season it. And we're stamped across the bottom. My longer little block doesn't fit in my stuff on my desk, so I have to keep it over there. Okay, so I'm just laying it down and add it to my block. And then I'm going to season it. So, because I've never used it, right? So I'm just going to rub it on my skin. Some people stamp it in a lighter color, like off stamp it a few times to make sure. You just want the manufacturing residue not on there. Okay, but we're going to stamp it one time just to make sure we are good. So we'll do it on the back of here. So anything that I colored, I used intense black before I colored it. It's my favorite black. I use it pretty much for everything. And then, like I said, we use the white daisy and we use the glacier. And then for this little border, I think I'm going to use pewter because that's the same color as I cut my frame. So when you cut the thin cut, you have an inside and an outside. So I can just save this in my little package with my border to use on a different project. So now we're going to ink this up. So it's kind of hard to do the tap, tap, twist, twist with a longer stamp. So I'm just kind of doing it in sections, and I just want to make sure everything has ink on it, and I'm just going to stamp it a few times to make sure that it's stamping well before I put it down on my project. Okay, so I don't have any like dust on it or anything like that. Everything's going flying, guys. Okay, so now I'm just going to stamp it across the bottom. So I'm going to have to come up with a fun plan for April, and we'll feel like we're even ahead. So I'm stamping it down. I'm just going to hold it for a second. You could also add just a little thin line of stickles underneath the tree to bring in the same stickles that we did at the top. I'm going to do that. There we go. And then I'll just wipe my stamp with my chamois. We'll throw it back on my sheet here. Okay, so there we go. So that's super cute. Now we'll just add, I have to remember not to touch it if we do this. So I'm just adding a thin little line of stickles across the bottom to make it look like the snow. It's definitely time for a new bottle of diamond stickles. So probably can't really see, but when it dries, it'll dry flat for the tree line. Okay, so I think that's it. That's what I've got for you guys today. We will just go back over the things. So these are the colors of ink I used: Pewter, Glacier, White Daisy, and Intense Black. And then from this stamp set, so I just stamped January in black ink, but you could also stamp it in Glacier if you wanted instead of the black. So I used from here the January, the snowman, the snowflakes, the hat, the border. And like I said, you could do lots of other things, right? You could add that snow day right there, or the baby it's cold outside. If you didn't, also you didn't have to put the shaker on there too, right? You could just do it flat. You could also build your own shaker in a different shape if you don't have the rectangle foam acetate. And yeah, they were cute for snow. You could, like I said, you could use a lot of things for snow too. You could use, so here's my whole bucket of, see, this was the other thing I was thinking about, but I actually like the flowers better as snow. I think they look more like falling from the sky, right? You could also just use silver. I think that would look more like snow than the gold. You could also use the star confetti to make the snow. I could have even added some of the star confetti in with the little flowers. That would have been really cute. I like the little girl too, with her hat on. Oh, I just put my finger in the stickles, so the whole tree might be glossy. But okay, so I'm going to bring back over the other ones. You can also use this. So this is a background stamp for her hat. So if you wanted, you could make her hat glacier and then stamp the pattern with black ink on top. I just colored it, right, instead of using the background stamp. So there we go. So that's how the process worked too, right? So I taped it off, made my background, and then added my shaker on top. So here is January and February and March. So, and I like that we use the borders on all of them so they kind of have the same kind of feel. And we've done a different technique on each and every one. Okay, so I'm going to move this out of the way for 1 second. And I'll bring them back in right at the end. But, okay. So tomorrow the sheet will be up for this layout, the Lucky Me, with the pull-out tabs and the clovers. The only thing that you can't cut with the Cricut are obviously the March flowers that we added here and the butterflies. And then, okay, I'm going to show you guys. I don't know if it's going to be high enough, but we'll see. So, like I said, you get to vote for I don't know if it's high enough. I don't think so. Maybe I will pull them out of here. And I can overlap them. So you'll see you can either vote here or, yes, you can. That's why I went back and did January and February. They're both available still to purchase. And obviously, March and April are in this current idea book, so they're available to purchase too. I wanted to make sure before I went backwards that they were there. So if you can either search D1996. That's the January, or that's the January one. It'll pop up. So, okay, so if you guys feel like you would like to vote on which layout from Summer Vibes we're going to recreate, so you can add your vote here. Yes, the January stamp is available. So it is D1996. And you can search that. Or if you type in January into the search bar too, that should pull up that stamp set. So you can vote. So this is layout number 1. This is layout number 2. And we're not going to make it with Summer Vibes. We're going to make it with a current product. This is number 3. And this is layout number 4. So if you want to add your vote in there, you can. So here we go. I'll just add these back down here. If you guys have any questions, and Colleen, I'll come back and I'll type in under your comment the number for the January and February stamps. so you can find them. Janice is changing her mind. So before she picked number 2 but now she likes number 3. They are all, that's one of the reasons I picked that workshop. So because I had decided that's something we were going to do this week, that made me start to think over the course of the weekend which which workshop I would actually pick to recreate. So I went back to make sure that all the products that I used in Summer Vibes were currently still available if anybody wanted to actually do that workshop. But we're going to recreate it with current idea book product. So that is what I have for you guys today. Happy Tuesday. And I hope you enjoyed that. So that was kind of fun. And I love the fact that they're all so different. So I'll try and come up with something fun for April. I don't know when we'll do it, but now that we're like right on schedule, we've got lots of time. I hope you guys have a great Tuesday, and we'll talk to you later. Bye, guys.